calling to talk about something on the assessment?
Oh right, yeah. It was just sorry, excuse me. It's just the letter that you sent. There's a couple of things I wanted to sort of clarify, really, as to what you actually meant. One was you mentioned about paranoid ideation. I wonder what that was actually in reference to. And the other one was apparently my trouble with engaging with services because I was abusive to them, when it's actual fact it was the fact that they were very abusive to me, violated my rights and acted in a criminal way. And the fact
Which
that
I got in there in some way, didn't I?
well, not. See, the thing is, like, I mean, I still feel very aggrieved by the conduct of the Devon Recovery Learning community and what followed on, and what indeed didn't actually follow on with regards to Devon Partnership Trust. So, I just wanted to clarify what you meant by that. And with regards to the paranoid ideation, I was wondering whether that was in reference to the fact that I mentioned to you during the assessment that I was being stalked and followed by the Devon Partnership Trust.
No, it wasn't just that.
Right. Well,
that was a part of it.
well, the thing is,
But
that
it
can
was
be.
the fact that it went that the ideation went across the board. So it was
Right.
DBT, DWP rather, DBT. It was it was in a lot of different aspects of your life.
Right.
You had the same kind of ideas.
So how can the fact?
And that's what I was talking about.
Right. So how can that be paranoid ideation when I could substantiate everything that I disclosed to you?
Right. It's because of the level of what you were saying, and the way it was quite fixed.
Right. Well, how
So
can
you weren't able to kind of accept any other evidence or look at it from a different angle or from someone else's point of view, or it seemed very fixed.
Well, the thing is because I can substantiate it and I have it in black and white, that I'd hardly say it's called paranoid, and the fact that it is in black and white, why should I accept somebody else's view of something when quite clearly the evidence that I have substantiates my point of view? I feel that's somewhat unfair by saying that I have paranoid ideation for the mere fact that I can prove that, I have been stalked online and that the conduct of other services has been criminal and negligent, and willfully so.
And so whilst I'm aware that that's your belief, I don't think that the law, for instance, might look at it that way. Now, that's only my view, and what you've got in my assessment is my opinion of what I was seeing on that day.
Right, so what's the law got to do with it?
But the law's got to do with it because you were talking about you were pursuing this through whatever means that you could. I can't remember what they were now off the top of my head. And this is why it's become very fixed and whatever. So someone else might not be quite so enthusiastic, shall we say, in following these things up and actually taking on the system, so to speak.
Well, that's funny, because I'm dealing with a solicitor now with regards to the police, and they've put forward an offer to them with regards to compensation, after which I am going to be coming after the vile and disgusting Devon Partnership Trust. I've already spoken with a number of people regarding that, and they've stated that I have a claim against them.
Right, okay.
Right.
That's fine, and it's in there that there's this dispute going on, and in your other notes there are obviously the other people's points of views as well. So I have to take a rounded view of what I'm seeing that day, how you're presenting in that assessment, and then I have to try and put that on paper so that people can get an understanding of where we're going.
Right. Well,
And the key things for me that come out of the assessment was that I reckon recognised that there was ongoing disputes with the various different bodies. Which one did you say you were getting compensation from? DWP?
No, I'm getting compensation from the police at the moment. That's say an offer's been put forward by my solicitor dealing with that, and once that's concluded, I will then be seeing the Devon Partnership Trust in court.
Cool. So it's the Devon Partnership Trust that you're going to be taking to court?
I will be taking them to court. Well, it'll actually be there will be the staff from the Devon Recovery Learning Community, and the Devon Partnership.
They are related to us. They are a separate entity as far as the law is concerned. Or because you need to take a body to court, don't you?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
They would be a separate body to DWP.
Right, and the Department for Work and Pensions.
DWP or DPT.
Well, the DWP, I have a tribunal coming up, but after seeking separate legal advice, they say that I have a very strong case against them because, like I say, I don't, I'm very open to other people's views, but when I make a subject access request and the information that's disclosed to me points towards criminal conduct, I'd hardly call it paranoid ideation, which is what I've done with Devon Partnership Trust, which has uncovered a number of serious issues and breach of the sort of patient, doctor or counsellor trust, especially with regards to Anna Hayden of the Teignbridge Community Mental Health Team, who kept completely inaccurate and false information about me on file with regards to her risk assessment. I've sought independent legal advice to substantiate my concerns, and they've come back and they've agreed with me that I have a case. So I'd hardly call it paranoid ideation. Now, I can get on with people or I don't get on with people. I've been through enough hell, and I just say it as it is. Now, I'm concerned because it seems to me that you have more bias towards your colleagues than you would with myself, as opposed to being impartial.
Actually, I didn't even look at because I felt I wanted a fresh look at the whole situation. I relied from what I saw in front of me in that room.
Right.
In the main. I'm not saying that I wasn't aware that there was other things going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
You told me about other things. And that pointed to me in the room, it presented as verging on the edge of paranoid, but the ideas were quite paranoid. And so that's why I was talking about the ideation. The ideas were quite paranoid around the various bodies.
Right, okay, well, I can appreciate where you're coming from, and the purpose of this call was just to, clarify what you meant as opposed to making an assumption. I can agree at times, yeah, I do have paranoia about people, and I think that's a natural response considering what I've had to deal with.
Wrong. You're not wrong. But my impression was that it was actually impacting on your life and that you had so much going on and so many different disagreements that it was actually getting involved in your life. Well, and that was part of the actual plan that we agreed at the end.
Yeah.
How are you getting on with that, by the way?
It's actually, I must admit, now there's some areas of my life which I feel have actually got worse. The OCD and the rituals have got very bad, but then there has been a switch in how I'm addressing certain episodes of depression or feeling low, thinking, right, I can't do this, so the breathing and everything else. So I've gone through those, and then there's the other ones that you mentioned, which I need to download and print off. So yeah, I've quite enjoyed that actually. It's been quite insightful.
And it's working for you, although sometimes that does happen where you sort of deal with one thing and it makes something else seem stronger. Or become stronger.
Well,
sometimes it's just a feeling, but sometimes it's actually you know that, for instance, rituals are more intense or whatever.
Yeah, so, you know, so for instance, I might address one thing but something else might be exacerbated by, you know, the fact that something else has sort of eased off. So that I'm finding very difficult to deal with. And then, of course, with regards to losing the baby last year, that depression and sadness has come back even stronger. So what I'm finding is that I might have periods where I'm starting to feel a bit more focused, and I'm like, right, okay, maybe I can start therapy, but then it might start trying to worm its way back in, you know, because my mind.
It's still early days, so it's going to take a little while before everything becomes kind of automated.
Yes, yeah, I mean, like you're saying, it's was it 21-day habit? Sort of trying to break that, you know, and because you know, my mind is obviously so used to certain things, you know, as soon as it tries to do something different, it's trying to bring itself back into its comfort zone. Is the best way I can, you know, describe it. So I think we've got about a month or so left. I think when was it again? Before I.
November, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so
it was November.
a month and a bit.
Yeah, so still going with that. In fact, I carry them around if I take a laptop out with me or something, a laptop bag that, like, the books and that are in there anyway. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate your time calling back. I just wanted to sort of clarify what it was, you know, because I kind of felt it was a bit unfair if that's what it was in relation to. Because, you know, I've got no. If you want to read, you know, I can substantiate and show you exactly what's happened. You know, I mean, like I mentioned there with the DWP, who state that my file never went missing. Well, I've not only got it on a phone call with them, but I have it in black and white on a piece of paper, and they're trying to claim that it never went missing. You know, well, I mean, it's beyond the scope of a phone call. I just wanted to sort of clarify what it was. You know,
put your mind at rest. The paranoid ideation wasn't aimed at any particular body of people. It was your presentation on the day where you seemed to have quite a strong sort of paranoid element to yourself, if you see what I mean. And I even sort of took into account that you're actually in front of someone else from DBT. So you would be a little bit more paranoid than someone that wasn't, hadn't had issues with us. So
right.
I tried to give a rounded view, and I didn't want to make it sound like you were a risk to others or anything like that from there. It was just my overall view was that your ideas seemed very paranoid on a number of different levels throughout the assessment, and so that's what I write, because that's what I see. And if I didn't write it, then it would be wrong, because that's exactly what I saw.
Right.
But that said, when you come back in and we're sat down and we're preparing for the next stage, i.e. going through to interventions and whatever, then at that point, if it's not there, I'll be writing that the paranoid ideation has dissipated, and da-da-da-da-da. And so what I'll be writing is exactly what I'm seeing again.
Right. I mean, I'm aware that the letter, isn't going to be. It's going to be more of I think, a summary rather than a complete in-depth response. I mean, you've obviously got other notes that you've made during the assessment. I mean, I was quite happy with how it went. It certainly went better than I expected. So, I mean, there was obviously a few things that I remember you were a bit concerned about, like if my girlfriend touches my chair, there's parts of me that just instantly flinch. So at the end of the day, regardless of whatever's going on and transpiring around me, I just want to be able to get better and, live a more fulfilling life, and start achieving the goals and dreams that I have and the aspirations.
From what you're telling me is telling me that actually I was pretty much on the right track with the outcome.
Right.
And I think you can get yourself better, and you can get yourself to a place where you're functioning much better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It might be that you might feel that you're having to manage yourself a little bit more than others might in some areas, but at the end of the day, you're going to be able to do it, and that's the key issue here. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
if you've got the skills and the tools to do it, then it's not such a hardship. It's not so disabling, if you like.
well, that's the thing. I mean, I know I need help, and I'm going to need guidance with the therapy and stuff because, from my understanding of, what I've been diagnosed with, I haven't developed in ways that others have. So I don't have the more constructive coping skills that many would.
No.
So.
But the thing with that is, and this is a thing to bear in mind, is they can be learned because everyone learns them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not born with them. You're born with some things. So, for instance, some people are more able to stand stress. They're just more resilient to it naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Their genes or whatever allow them to be like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they still have to learn to manage stress, how to manage anxiety, how to manage their mood, and their thoughts. They still have to learn all of that. And so, if you're learning it all, and you're taking it on board and you're using it every day, several times a day, as I've probably said 100 times,
yeah.
then it becomes automated and it becomes so natural that it's almost like it wasn't a problem in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
there'll always be aspects of you that are a little bit more pronounced than others, so they'll need a little bit more management than others.
Yeah.
But you'd have built those skills.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I have struggled with is how a lot of people will attribute something that I do or say to mental health when the response is perfectly natural that any normal human being would have.
Yeah.
I'm rightfully vexed at the fact that I was mistreated by Devon Recovery Learning Community because of false allegations. That's got nothing to do with the fact that I was there because I'm struggling with mental health. It's the fact that, I was banned with no evidence whatsoever, and everything else that transpired and they failed to implement afterwards, I am rightfully annoyed at. And I think it's...
And don't get me wrong, I'm with you on that. People shouldn't be banned. They should find a way of even if you were doing all the things they said, they should have found a way of managing that and still been able to support you because that's what they're there for.
Well, yeah, and they didn't do that. They completely discriminated against me. So, I did also get in touch with somebody that deals with civil rights, and they said, yeah, that's actually pretty bad. That you could very well have them on discrimination there, and if you took this to the European Court of Human Rights, because they're a public body, they have to abide by the Human Rights Act. You could have them for Article 6, which is the right to a fair trial, which doesn't have to apply to a court. It could apply to an employment tribunal. If you were unfairly dismissed from a public authority. The mere fact is they completely banned me with no evidence asked for nor provided, and since then the complaint has been in my favour, but they've obviously downplayed how serious it is. And I'm very disgusted at that, and I just would have thought that, that anyone, regardless of whether you're a public service or not, people would have ethical and moral standards to sort of, okay, well, what's happened? What's your view? Is there anything that you can provide which you can refute these claims? And none of that happened whatsoever. I was just outright banned with absolutely no opportunity to defend myself. And so yeah, I'm rightfully annoyed. It's got nothing to do with the fact I'm really struggling with depression and anxiety, etc. So. But like I say, at the end of the day, I just want to be able to get better, and I mean, the books and that are helping, but I know that it's going to take a lot more than that.
The books will give you a really good foundation, and in fact,
yeah.
I would say that particularly the book on depression,
yeah.
the bit at the back, that has, the research is phenomenal on that, and
yeah.
they try to tear it apart because the doctors want to use medication,
Mm.
and yet they've still had to admit that actually the results with that little, there's only about 3 or 4 pages.
Mm.
Those 3 or 4 pages are more effective than medication.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should stop your medication. It's just saying that those 3 or 4 pages are more effective at creating a recovery.
Mm.
And not only that, it's because you've learned to do that, then you're able to sustain the recovery, and that's the important thing here.
Yeah.
It's not just getting better just for the next time something happens you get ill again. It's about getting better and having the tools to sustain that recovery. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I took a 2-part route, so that you could prepare yourself ready for therapies.
Yeah.
And then go in and do something like the change program or CBT or whatever we decide on when we next meet.
Yeah.
And at that point, we'll know that you're prepared and you're ready to go with it.
Right. Okay.
So it's, overall, I'm pleased to have talked with you, because it sounds like you're getting a little bit of benefit.
Yeah.
And given that we met at the end of November, I think.
I think
So
it was
that's
slightly
only-
before then. Was it slightly before then? I think so. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just.
It was about the 27th of November. Maybe that was when I wrote the report.
Sorry. Yeah. So I've got that bug that's going around.
Yeah. And so that you're in a, you're sort of just over halfway in the program, and already benefiting. So I'm hoping that by the time you come back in, you'll be well up for it and prepared.
Yeah.
And it'll be an easy decision.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things I'm trying to do. I've got one of those wipe-off marker boards, so that I can structure my days a bit better, so I can allocate certain times or slots to say, okay, well, I'm going to go through this book then, or I'm going to do this. So, for instance, I make music for an hour, or I'm going to continue writing my documentary, or so just to try and structure it up a little bit. So. And I think one of the things I still struggle with is having multitudes of ideas and struggling to focus on one and pin that down. So then I end up getting caught in this vicious circle, because I get very angry with myself, and then I think everything else is failing. So I'm trying to structure that as best as I can
Is
to
there 2
focus.
sides to the board?
No, it's just like it's just one board. So, and then I'll write something, and then I'll put a tick next to it if I've managed to complete the task, and then if I haven't, I'll leave it there, and then try and focus it on the following week. I mean, I'm trying, but I am struggling with it quite a bit. So, and I've become quite jumpy again, like with sudden loud noises and things. So and struggling with people and being outdoors sometimes. Although that said, I have sort of managed to sort of keep going to the gym and doing yoga, but with other constraints at the moment, other stuff's had to sort of take a back seat. So I need to work towards getting into a place where
Some of that is about exposure. When it comes to anxiety, it's exposure. It's not letting the little green bug take control.
Yeah.
You're challenging it and saying, do you know what? Treat it like a child. You don't need to be worried at the moment. We know where we're going. And if we get worried, we can always withdraw. So you soothe it, almost in your head, as if you're talking to something else. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Don't do it out loud, for Christ's sake.
No, definitely not. So, no. See, the thing is, whereas I used to fight it before, now I think it's kind of more of an acceptance and say, right, okay, you're there, but you're not gonna drag me down to where you want to go, sort of thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it takes a lot more effort. It might take a bit longer than usual. Sometimes it might not work at all.
try the self-soothing. Try when you get in that situation. Say, okay, yeah, I'm aware you're there, but actually at this moment in time, you don't need to worry because we've got Plan A, we've got Plan B, we've got Plan C.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah.
All right. And I'll see you in a couple of months.
Yeah, something like that. I'll look at the letter and then find out when. But anyway, thanks for your call. Really appreciate that.
No worries.
No, just like I say, I just wanted to clarify.
Good luck with all the things. Yeah, don't take DBT for too much money when you take them because I get paid by them.
Yeah, no, it's just I mean, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It was supposed to be last year, but there's a few other things that kind of cropped up, like losing the baby and that. So sort of things took a bit of a back seat. So
really focus on that the behavioural activity.
Yeah.
The behavioural activation therapy at the back of the book. Really focus on that, that structure. Get that going.
Yeah.
That's the bit that's going to help you the most.
Yeah, definitely. Okie doke. Alright, thanks for your time. I won't take up too much of your time because you're going to be pretty busy, so...
Yeah, I'm writing reports today, so I've got computer blindness at the minute.
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah. Alright, well, it's been nice talking to you.
And yourself?
I'll see you again in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, brilliant.
You take care.
Okay, and yourself. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Bye now.
Alright, bye.